Hare Krishna, we are extremely fortunate here to be with Professor Ganpati Ramanathan from Troy, New York, here in the beautiful green lawns of IIT Mandi, while we are participating in this Mind, Brain and Consciousness conference organized by the IKSHMA, that is the Indian Knowledge Systems Mental Health Applications Group here at IIT Mandi. Thank you so much for joining us here today.
Thank you very much. It's a pleasure. Namaste.
Professor Ganpati. It was very enlightening to know about all the wonderful, your qualification as a graduate from IIT Madras. I graduated, by the way, from IIT Bombay a few years after you. And then you're doing your PhD in material sciences from the University of Illinois. Yeah. But here you are, you can see here in the kurta with a nice chunri and dedicating yourself in a beautiful way to the propagation of the Indian knowledge systems. Can you share some of your beautiful journey about how all this has transpired?
Well, I mean, my professional journey has been in science and technology, in research, discovery of new materials.
From the top universities.
Yeah, well, that is by grace. Sometimes you get lucky. But luck, I look at luck as LUCK, which is labor under correct knowledge.
Nice.
So I think there is grace and there is luck. Luck, you can make it. Grace, I think you have to be open to it.
Yes.
So after having graduated from a top university, I also was fortunate to get a good position in one of the top research universities, the oldest research university in oldest engineering university in the United States, Rensselaer. So I've been a professor there for 26 years now.
Wow.
So
that's a big thing.
The professional front, I've been working on a variety of materials, nanomaterials mainly. So clusters of atoms and thin films and nanotubes, and how you can use their amazing properties for microelectronics device applications or energy generation applications. Using a variety of spectroscopy and microscopy techniques, we understand how the properties are related to atomic scale structure and composition and chemistry. So we also make these by a variety of different methods, which is wet chemistry. We also do vapor phase depositions and bulk processing. So that's the area that we work in. Now, as far as Indian knowledge systems go, my immersion in Indian knowledge systems...
Immersion is a good word.
...has been mainly, because of the exposure that I've had from my family, from childhood.
Yeah.
So my earliest memories are, hearing chants every day, hearing bhajans every day. There used to be a meditation room at home. Everything that was done, whether it was cooking or whether it was wearing a new dress or studying, it was always like a yajna. It was essentially done in a very structured manner. It was done as though it is an offering to the Lord. I also had the good fortune, I must say, of coming across many gurus. For example, my aunt, I was very close to, and she was very close to Chinmayananda. So she used to teach Balvihar classes, so I used to just be always with her. So just being with her, I could learn the Bhagavad Gita, many chapters by heart, many bhajans, Purusha Sukta, and other kinds of hymns and chants from the Vedas. So in fact, this had such a profound influence on me that even as a child, the games that I used to play was to teach other children how to chant. Wow. In fact, anytime my mother's friends and all came from her office, I used to make them sit, and I was the teacher, and I used to be the student.
Turned out to be a teacher pretty early in life, and that's what continued.
So my grandparents were deeply involved in Indian knowledge systems. For example, my paternal grandfather was a scholar in 3 languages other than being a Vaidika. So everything was very traditional. So in a sense, my exposure or immersion was in the family with Indian knowledge systems.
Yes, well, that's true. It's not part of the academia.
And I didn't know how they worked, but I never really said, oh, this is useless or that is not good. I accepted all of them the way it was, because nothing was forced.
Yes.
It was just the way we were. And of course, in the academic setting, it is a completely different way of looking. So I got trained in Indian classical music from a very young age, and I had exposure to yoga and Sanskritam. So, all these actually I taught in the United States to children. In fact, for nearly 20 years, I taught Indian knowledge. Be not the best use of my talents. I will bring the best people here so that they can teach. I can co-teach with them. So that way the students get exposure to the very best, while I can bring the academic angle to that. So in 2023, so we met in 2022 in December. In 2023 August, we taught a course on music and musopathy. So
musopathy, just the word itself, is something that not many people are aware of.
Right.
And I think that's where even just this thing that you could bring, I think, the traditional teachers, and you yourself came in, although you didn't have the academic study of it, but now you are facilitating the academic study of it.
Correct.
And bringing in the real experts in the field and teaching it in a prominent academic institute.
Right. For example,
that's a beautiful thing. That's that.
Yes. For example, I requested Sangeet Samrat Chitraveena Ravikiranji, who was a child prodigy, one of the youngest performers of all time. He performed at the age of 2, and he is also my guru in music. So I requested him to come and teach this at IIT, and he was very interested.
Isn't that such a beautiful thing? You're saying it as a simple thing, but if something like this could manifest in many-fold in various institutes, where the traditional experts in different fields of Indian knowledge systems could somehow be connected.
Yes, I
to
think
teach in the academia.
Yes.
As a formal academic course. Till now, they have been teaching you have to go to their gurukul, go to their home,
right?
Which is good. That's how it has continued. But bring it back into the academia. I think that's the thing which we are talking about here, sitting in IIT Mandi and talking about the upcoming Bhaktivedanta University, right?
Right. I think what you mentioned is absolutely very important, and there are lots of barriers that needs to be crossed to kind of really integrate the two, and that's what ICSMA is trying to do here in many ways. It's and when I got Ravikiranji here, we taught a course. We thought we'll teach 20 or 30 students, but 230 students signed up.
There you go, 10 times more than what you thought.
Yeah. So and we taught, and in fact. The amount of time that I spent grading that, is probably I don't think I have taught any other course with that much time spent on grading.
in the best engineering college in America.
Yeah, right.
You didn't probably do that much.
So after that, given the success of that course, there was an interest in establishing a master's and a PhD program formally in IIT Mandi. So we actually, Ravikiranji, with a little bit of input from me and others, actually formulated a curriculum, and it is now there is a formal program in music and musopathy, a master's program and a PhD program.
Nice.
Both through research.
Nice.
So it just started actually a few months ago.
Wow.
So even though the curriculum was created quite quickly, within a month or two, it took a while to get approvals and all of that. It took nearly, I would say, a year and a half for it to manifest. And there was a lot of interest, a lot of applications, nearly 80 or 90 applications for this.
There's a PhD in music and musopathy.
Yeah. And musopathy basically
of traditional Indian knowledge systems.
Based on Indian knowledge systems, both on Carnatic, Southern
That's
Indian.
also for
classical.
our audience to know if anybody is interested.
Definitely. Southern Indian and also North Indian, which is Hindustani.
Yes.
So the performing aspects of it, the basic aspects of it, what is melody, what is rhythm, not only in the theoretical descriptions, but also in learning and practice. In fact, the students in the program, many of them have come from background in yoga and in music. Some have come from engineering,
right,
and some of them are already performing artists,
right,
who actually want to engage in research. So using music for well-being in formal ways. In informal ways, of course, Listening to music can be therapeutic itself and so on. There's a lot of work on music therapy as well, where people listen to certain music and they feel good, etc. But it is not well enough developed. The field and the research in the field is not well enough developed so that you can say, okay, listen to this piece of music and your headache will go away. For example,
exactly.
if you have a headache,
not that kind of formula.
If you have an aspirin, maybe it will go away.
Yes.
But can we create a module?
Wow.
Where if you play this, like a music pill or a music module.
Yeah.
That will inspire you, or that will address certain.
So you think you can actually get to that kind of a level where you can the music can cure specific, whether ailments, like so that's what you're saying.
I think that is the hypothesis. So as a researcher, I would say that is the hypothesis.
Right.
So this is the vision. Whether we can realize it or not depends upon what we find.
Yes.
So we may have preconceived notions about how things may work. But in research, when we do experiments and when we study and do analysis, we might find that it is not exactly the way we think, but it might be even better than what we think sometimes.
Yes.
All right. I think what we are really trying to do is not to walk very fast or not even to run. We want to see if we can fly.
Yeah.
So for that, you need to really, to soar, we need to be able to think beyond what is currently known. So I think the tools for research are fairly advanced nowadays. So you can actually measure the effect of various
I guess that's
stimuli.
What you mean by museopathy, because you're trying to.
So in museopathy, there's a difference between music therapy and museopathy. Music therapy is what I said. Basically, you play a raga and see if what the effects are. Obviously, there are effects. There have been a lot of studies, and but the question is, if you play a darbar, a raga, or a raga darbari, and it has certain effect on, let's say, people in Himachal, will that same effect be experienced by somebody in Kerala, or in Sweden, or in the US? So because Rag Darbari may be known here, but in Kerala it is probably known as some other raga, and the style of playing is different. And what is the speed at which it is being played? Is it entertainment music that is being played, or is it actually the notes that is making a difference? So we need to be able to separate the effects of what our mental conditioning is, and also what the actual notes make a difference. And so the idea is to understand how does sound have an effect on the neurological system. Because the sound having an effect directly on the body is not much. It will have an effect on the neurological system, and then that can trigger a cascade into your body. Because if you look at sound, that we hear, it is between 20 hertz and 20,000 hertz. And the energy involved, energy transfer involved is very minuscule to make any difference. So that kind of stimulus has to make a subtle change in the neurological system where the chemistry is changed and other things are triggered. So how do you study this? You can bring in, there is EEG, there is heart rate variability, you can measure, you can map, there is near field infrared spectroscopy. All these measurements, you can also use, for example, cell cultures. Make live cultures exposed to certain sounds, and then use certain other cultures that are not exposed to those sounds but exposed to noise.
That's where we are going.
And you can study those biologically. So these possibilities are available now, and those can be done at a deep level, with not only the aim being to establish how Indian knowledge system works, but this is new Indian knowledge that is being unearthed.
That's right. It's not static in that way.
Right. That could
it's like you're discovering new things within the ancient system of knowledge.
Right, and that could be applicable to entire world.
Yes. Yeah. You will figure out. And because that's the thing, I think some people, they think, this is the ancient knowledge, remains static as it is, so there is no really a question of any deeper research or innovation in that thing. But that's what you're saying, there is.
Any knowledge is always dynamic.
Yes.
And
including the most ancient one.
Absolutely. Any knowledge, and I think in India we have the advantage that we are the oldest civilization wherein the ancient knowledge systems have been largely preserved. Many things, many aspects are destroyed. Many things we don't remember in the last 200-300 years or maybe 1,000 years. And many things are also distorted. Many things have been, we overstate. So I think you need to take a critical look at what works and what doesn't work. And that is the job of a researcher.
That's one point I'm talking about. That's exactly, because people sometimes, oh, you're too emotional about what your tradition is, etc. Right? Or others who's like, well, you know, and that's why they won't even touch it. Or, you know, like they will probably just do it in a private way. If we can critically work on that in a way that it is, you know, so people then take it or leave it, you know, but take it for what it is worth for by really analyzing it deeply. Right?
And I think, you know, let me give you another example. One other area where I'm interested in is Yantra Shastra. So we know that yantras work. This is a subjective experience, you know. Temple is a yantra. You know that when you go there, you feel good. It is not just because, you know, it is...
How do you define a yantra?
A yantra actually literally means a machine.
Right.
It's a machine for your well-being. So if you look in the ancient Indian system, anytime there is a village that was built, there is always a village deity. If there's a new street, there's a new street deity. There's a town, there's a town deity. And these are actually not stones. These are vigrahas. We should never call these idols, because idols have a connotation of being fake. That's why the Westerners used to call the stone an idol.
Yeah.
And these are vigrahas where there is a prana pratishta.
Yes.
So they have been consecrated.
Yes.
So when you consecrate them, there are real specific processes to use certain materials and certain processes that are actually applied for the consecration to happen.
Yes.
So, and this science is still on. People know this, very few people know this. You know, there are temples being built all the time, the Ayodhya temple being the most recent. Now, how does it work? Or does it work at all is a question even for the common person.
Yes.
The common person, to answer that common person's question, I think is important for a civilization. So we need to look at this critically from a scientific basis, use the tools that we have to explore what works, what doesn't work. For example, you can take a yantra before consecration and after consecration. And then you bring a population and study their, you know, for example, by EEG, when they are interacting with the yantra.
Yeah.
Which is consecrated versus not consecrated. See if there is a difference.
Yeah.
If there is no difference, we should be able to say that at least with those measurements, there's no difference. We don't need to say that it doesn't work. But if you're able to see a difference, you need to tell that, hey, look, there is a difference. So for all the naysayers who say that, oh, why do you want to build a temple? This is the answer.
Right.
So we need to be able to explore this with the hypothesis that there could be a difference. And for example, to show this objectively through scientific methods, nobody has attempted this before. With great rigor. We all know this. It works for us. Maybe if it works for you, maybe chanting works for you. There are many things that could work. So, you can do experiments with chanting. People have done that, right? With chanting, how you are calmer, you are, more rational, you have better decision making and all those things. So, the naysayers, especially the educated,
especially the educated ones.
And I think we need to provide the evidence.
Yeah.
I'm not saying we need to manufacture the evidence. We need to do the experiments rigorously, analyze, and share whatever it is.
Yeah.
And I'm sure whatever it is, at least part of it, we will get insights into what may work, maybe what may not work. Also, in any industry, for example, yantras, you can get Sri yantras, you can get Sri Vidya yantras, you can get Linga Bhairavi yantra. There's so many yantras. Even actually certain mandala drawings are yantras, just drawings.
Right.
Is it a genuine one is a question.
Yes.
Right? Has it been really consecrated, or somebody has actually drawn it and selling it on Amazon to make a buck?
Yeah.
So we should also have systems wherein the authentic Indian knowledge systems are preserved.
Yes.
And those are, those should have the place. Those should reclaim the place that they deserved.
Yes.
Or that they deserve. and the ones that don't work, maybe needs further
Yeah.
research of other aspects. Maybe they work in other aspects, and maybe our experiment that we have devised is not the apt one.
Yeah.
See, the thing is, if we get a positive result, it shows that something is happening.
Yeah.
If you get a negative result, it does not mean that something is not happening.
Yeah.
We might need to fine tune the experiments.
Yeah.
So I think societally and civilizationally, especially for the
Right.
educated people who have somehow become deracinated or decoupled from our own
Yeah.
roots,
Yes.
this scientific discovery or exploration at least should be very useful. For the people who are already connected with the soil, with the land, with farming, villagers, they don't ask these questions. It works for them and it's good.
Yes, that's right.
So, and also I think exploring these kind of things, for example, Rasa Shastra, like if you take Ayurveda and Siddha medicines, they use mercury in that. But mercury used to be used across all over the world, but it's not used because mercury is toxic. But then in Rasa Shastra, the mercury is not bulk mercury. It is in the nanoparticle form. It is actually modified chemically by other herbs. Is that really toxic still?
Right.
This is something that
Yeah.
you need to look at. I'm not an expert in this area, but these are the questions
Yeah.
that need to be looked at very rigorously, because even now if somebody comes and says, oh, mercury, it won't work.
Yeah.
Because we have just bought what, modern science looks at just mercury as it is.
Yeah.
But mercury, you mix it with a whole bunch of other things, you alloy it, is it still toxic?
Yeah.
Probably not. Or maybe in some cases, you need to look
Yes.
what works, what doesn't work. I'll give you one more example.
Right.
The iron pillar of in Mehrauli in Delhi, that is an ancient Shiva temple. There are actually a bunch of Shiva temples there, and you would have probably known that it doesn't rust.
It doesn't rest.
And in fact, there's been much research by Professor R. Bala from IIT Kanpur, who actually got his degree from RPI, from Rensselaer, where I am a professor.
Oh.
But Professor Bala is no more. He passed away about 10-15 years ago. But he had shown that the addition of certain kinds of compounds together with iron made it basically corrosion resistant. So that has been shown. Can we take this to the next level? Can we actually make that now?
Yeah.
Can we make new kinds of alloys which don't rust?
Right.
So that is new discovery using our ancient.
Exactly. So it doesn't remain static. Becomes
So
useful.
we should be doing this.
Yeah.
We have this knowledge, all right? And
Yeah.
we should be able to not just say, oh, they were great, our ancestors were great. It's good for them.
Yeah.
How can we be great?
Yes.
Can we use, for example, if you look at zinc, the zinc purification method that is used around the world is still the one that is devised in India about 300 years ago,
Oh, really?
300-400 years ago. So, there are many things that are indigenous
Ah.
to India. What is known as, for example, Damascus steel, where the inner part actually is soft, so the sword can actually bend, but the outer part, the sharp part, is very hard and sharp.
Ah.
That kind of nuance was made possible by our ancestors in millennia before. It's known as Damascus steel because it was from Damascus, but the knowledge came from here. Okay, so in fact the word iron comes from ayaha in Sanskrit, so is. So that's where the word iron even comes.
Oh.
So in German it's called Eisen. So it's Eisen. So you can see even from the words. And in southern India especially, steel making and iron making was very big thousands of years ago. And this is well known. I'm not making this up. There's been an area of archaeometallurgy, which is not very active now, but many of these things are actually known. So, and they innovated at a time where there were no microscopes.
Right.
Where there were no nothing to see which is hard, so they had their own methods, which we don't know. So you can get insights into the methods and their approaches and bring that into the scientific fold
Yeah.
and make unique things.
Wow.
So these are actually quite exciting ideas to me.
Absolutely.
And so I've been thinking, and I'm engaged with many faculty members in IIT Mandi and also elsewhere, but mainly IIT Mandi, where we wrote a proposal, for example, a month ago for a big project in this Rasa Shastra and in Yantra Shastra to explore. And so you take, and also you can make the yantras and do this, and then also take people to temples and take people to archaeological ruins and see if there's a difference in their EEGs.
Ah.
See, so
Right.
the consecrated versus non-consecrated. So I think this IKS exploration, the important part here is to involve many of our researchers in India to explore it.
Absolutely, that's the main point.
When others
all the people who are experts here to do this proper formal research.
Correct. Because when other people, from other civilizations
Yeah.
come and do it, sometimes, at least as we've seen in the past, they have a hidden agenda of somehow putting it down. It's like being
Yes.
the New York
Yeah.
Times. They
Right.
can't find anything positive about India.
Ah.
Or Washington Post. It's like we are, India is always the backwaters of everything. So, but when we ourselves study, then with a true inquisitive mind, with an open mind, we
Yeah.
should be open to also accepting that some things don't work.
Yes.
It should not be some dogmatic
absolutely.
thing or
Absolutely,
some
that's
rigged
the whole
thing.
point.
So then we are really talking about true innovation, true renaissance in thought process, and then
Amazing.
we'll also get new and original research that's possible.
Yes.
So if you look at Vedas, in the last 300 years, the Vedas you and I know are interpreted by Westerners, Germans and English, scholars. And scholars, I want to say within quotes. And they were interpreting it without the knowledge of the culture, without and they obviously had a agenda is to colonize, not only colonize economically, but also colonize our minds.
That was the main thing.
So we need to take this back, and and I think India has no dearth of talent. The best of researchers are around here. They have been trained, all around the world from top universities. Many of them have been trained here as well in top groups. So the question is now, can we use that talent to explore our own
brings this point,
systems.
I was in the US myself for 17 years, and we know this very well. Some of the top CEOs of the software companies especially are Indians. Although, so that means, and that also happens throughout. I mean, the intellectual capacity of Indians has really been established very strongly. If some part of that can be utilized to intellectually analyze objectively and research India's own knowledge system, body of knowledge.
Yes, absolutely. I think
isn't that going to be a great gift, not just for India, but for the world?
It will be for the world. In fact, India is really a treasure house of intellectual resource and analytical thinking. We have that gift from our ancestors.
Absolutely. I interrupt you, say one thing. I heard this from my guru. He said that India's favorite sport, which is now cricket, etc., used to be intellectual debate. So the people who were doing debates were actually considered the heroes of the society. That means the level of the society in terms of their intellectual work was so high. So,
right. I know we are also games like chess, which needs a lot of analytical thinking and so on. But my point that I want to make is, yes, it is true that many of our Indian origin people are in very high positions all around the world doing very well. However, that use of intellect has been always for the purpose of their professions.
Right.
And not so much to explore their own culture.
Right.
And I would say that there is actually in most of these so-called successful people, there is a apathy towards what our culture is. It's not, I wouldn't say that they are unaware. They are aware, they practice their culture at home, they do the rituals and all those things. But when it comes to public discourse,
Yeah.
they somehow separate it out.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I think applying that intellect to critically examine the knowledge systems is important. See, I think at this stage it's possible. Earlier it was not possible because India was a poor country. We have been looted for nearly several hundred years.
Yes.
So, but now we are rising back up again.
Which we were before.
Correct.
If you go more than 1,000 years back at the
correct. If you look at Angus Madison's work, China and India
were the top, 1/3 of the GDP.
GDP.
Yes.
And the GDP fell around 1800, between 1800 and 1835.
That's the maximum time.
It went from, I think, 27% to about 1% or 2% or something like that.
Yeah.
So, but right now I think it's coming back up. We're probably the fourth biggest economy. It's going to be third also very soon. So, what that tells me, I'm not an economist, but what heartens me is that every Indian who's educated and who's skilled and who's in this area with high intellect and who has had the privilege of university education either here or abroad, need not just focus on what they do for a profession.
Right.
They can also work on, they can contribute to exploring Indian knowledge systems, because that can have a pretty huge impact. So I think I look at myself as one of those.
Yes, you are.
And whatever I said applies to me also. And I wouldn't say that this is only to the others. I'm also unfortunately...
you're leading by a beautiful example.
Well, I'm also unfortunately a Macaulay's child, But I think I've seen things that I cannot unsee anymore. And it's a privilege to embark on a journey where you explore the cultural and scientific aspects of Indian science with modern scientific eyes and views.
Yes, that's a beautiful summary of it all. And that is, and you see, you're talking from experience. You're talking from decades of work where you have wonderful expertise in the modern science, even as as a professor yourself, the top institutes. And then you come up with all of this, you study all of these things, and they are bringing it back into the mainstream of the academia. And that's giving such deeply fulfilling experience for your own self. That's exactly what, not just here in IIT Mandi, but at the Bhaktivedanta University, an institute which we would like to dedicate, which is going to be led by, is a vision of Dr. Lakshmidhar Behera, who is currently the director of IIT Mandi. So that an institute which is dedicated solely to bring all varieties of fields of Indian knowledge systems to be brought into deep scrutiny, deep research in a formal way, and also then build upon that so that it not just remains static but grows up like anything. And partnerships with scholars like your good self truly is like really the the very foundation of it all. And we encourage all of our wonderful listeners, etc., to come forward, participate, support all of these things, so that this beautiful body of knowledge can remain a dynamic, more and more dynamic body of knowledge, and based on which will develop a dynamic culture and prosperity for the whole world for a long time to come. It's been the oldest, most dynamic, most profound knowledge system, and we want to make it not just stay but thrive much more.
Definitely. I mean, I think ours is the oldest living knowledge system. Maybe there are other systems that are even older, but unfortunately they are not living.
Yeah.
So while I would like to say that we Indians are really great, maybe there are other civilizations that are great as well, but their civilizational memory is not living.
Yes.
That is the difference.
That's the thing.
And we have a responsibility to do that.
I was just talking to somebody who visited Egypt, and they preserve all of their what the mummies.
You preserve only things that are dead.
But the thing is, unfortunately, so.
No, we preserve things that are dead.
Yeah.
But things that are alive, you nurture, explore, and grow.
So here is the opportunity to do something, which is a living tradition.
Yes.
So we are extremely grateful to you. Anything in shortly you would like to summarize regarding the Bhaktivedanta University?
Well, I know about the Bhaktivedanta University because Professor Behera had actually mentioned about
Yes.
this to me. In fact, he had mentioned that he was almost thinking about, while he was in IIT Kanpur, he had conceived this and he
Yes.
wanted to, actually, he was all set to move to
Yes.
Mathura.
Yeah.
This is near Vrindavan, right?
Yes. It's been
And but at that time, the opportunity to lead IIT Mandi came.
And his guru actually asked him that, you take up this opportunity first, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So I'm aware of this very much. So I'd like to learn more about it. Maybe visit, the university there, and I'd be happy to contribute in any which way I can.
Any final words of inspiration for people to participate in the endeavor?
I think anything new that is being done, and anything new that is being explored in a rigorous, in a scientific way, with the good intention of unearthing
Yes.
knowledge, I think is a tremendous opportunity for doing
Wonderful. Amazing.
top class research that can be game changing,
Right.
both fundamentally from applications to economy, to technology, to nation building. So the impact can be huge. But it is also a challenge, because when you're doing something new, all systems are not in place.
Yes.
So one needs to be really gritty, needs to be of solid character with a lot of courage,
Yes.
conviction,
Yes.
to overcome obstacles that one may not even see
Yeah.
or imagine.
Yeah.
So it is not for the faint-hearted.
And we are not that, yeah, with your
Right.
kind blessings.
So it is. So I think even in IIT Mandi, in places like Ikshma, there are wonderful scholars that have come from top universities from around the world, from NIMHANS, from Stanford,
Yeah.
from Carnegie Mellon, and so on. And these are all courageous decisions. I'm sure they're made not purely from the viewpoint of giving to the society, but also from deep thought of how it can actually benefit their own professional careers, which is a very good thing.
Yes. Yeah. Absolutely. 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 Better for them, better for the world. for
Absolutely.
everyone.
I
That's
think
it,
the
that's
alignment
it.
of the individual goals
with the
being the alignment of the individual goals, the societal goals, and the global
absolutely
goals for humanity, if they are in
Harmony.
a harmony, then there's no problem, no obstacles.
That's it. That's true prosperity for the long term to stay. Thank you so much again. We are extremely grateful again and looking forward to work together with you
Thank
for
you
a
very
long
much.
time to come.
Thank you very much. Jai Shri Krishna.
Jai Shri
Namaste.
Krishna.